The Nigerian economy exceeded a negative territory in 2017 as GDP grew by 0.55% in second quarter of the same year. This was largely attributed to the increase in oil production, a recovery in oil price and government economic policies. Though leading indicators such as the Production Manufacturing Index, external reserve, nominal currency and price stability have improved, the real sector, especially sectors such as trade, manufacturing, finance, insurance and information technology is yet to fully recover. Growth in these sectors of the economy remain largely volatile. The need to surpass this economic growth in the year 2018, what are the needed policies that should be reviewed and what should be the measures to be applied? These and more will be our focus today on Panorama, coming to you from Lagos Network Center. I am Ademola Adeoye. But first, the news making the headlines. Stay tuned. We shall be back shortly. The first batch of 493 migrants out of 5,037 illegal migrants identified in Libya for evacuation to Nigeria have arrived Port Harcourt International Airport on board Max Air Boeing 747. The migrants were received at the airport by the presidential delegation led by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Oyema. Ilyasu Aliu Yakubu reports.
It's crystal clear from the faces of the migrant. You will tell that it is a joyous moment for the migrant as they are back to their father's land. The harrowing narratives expressed by this migrant while in Libya should be food for thought to other intending migrants that may seek for greener pasture outside the shores of Nigeria.
There's no place like home. Freedom is the best. You never can tell what you have until you lose it.
Libya, I don't think in life I can try it again and go to that way. Because there is no free life in that place.
My little experience in Libya was very bad. When I'm from Agadez to Tripoli, 24 in-laws move. Only 6 confirmed Libya. Inside that 6, 60-something die.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Oyema said the federal government is committed to evacuating all illegal migrants in Libya and other parts of the world. He said already the government has made provision for the rehabilitation and integration of those being brought back home.
You have come home and you will not be abandoned. There are provisions in place to provide for an extensive rehabilitation for you, to enable you to get education, to enable you to get skills, training and development, to equip you to get jobs.
The next line of action is of rehabilitation and reintegration. This process also, I have Director Relief and Rehabilitation already with me, who is going to conduct that aspect.
And we're going to start counseling them and then we'll rehabilitate them and see how we can reintegrate them back into the society. We're going to give them different kinds of skills in collaboration with other government agencies that offer such programs so that they can be back on their feet.
We have the Nigerian Returnees Empowerment Scheme of the federal government of Nigeria. This is being distributed to everybody under the office SSA Diaspora. They will look through these skills, decide which of the skills they want to acquire.
Soon after their arrival, the migrants were subjected to a series of medical checks. From Port Harcourt, Ilyasu Aliyaku, NTA News.
Wide jubilation erupted in Rivers State following military confirmation that notorious kidnapper, killer and cultist Donwari has been killed by joint operations of the Nigerian Army and the Department of State Services DSS. He was said to have been killed in his hideout in Enugu State while allegedly planning another attack after the January 1st killing in Rivers State. We have been warned that some pictures in this report may not be pleasant to some viewers, and so viewers' discretion is advised.
Place of criminality in Ogba, Igbema, Ndoni local government area of River State. Igwe Dibia Johnson, popularly called Donwani, accepted the River State government amnesty. Rather than turn a new leaf, the kingpin continued to unleash terror on the people in the area, resulting in the raid of his illegal residence, where assorted arms were recovered alongside human skulls and corpses buried in shallow graves. Sadly, on the 1st of January 2018, armed men from Donwani's criminal gang struck again, this time killing over 17 persons in Aligu and Krigene, near Omoko, and allegedly leading an attack on Igbeda days later. The last of Donwani's criminality, however, came to be after the Nigerian Army 6 and 82 divisions in a joint operation traced the kingpin to Enugu, where he met his Waterloo. Donwani was shot dead while trying to escape the raid on his hideout in Enugu State.
There was a presidential directive by Mr. President that the heartless killers, the perpetrators of that mayhem, must be hunted down, brought to book. And we will not rest until we get all of them and bring them to book.
I won't call the young men to desist from joining violent gangs of criminals, because at the end of the day, the law will catch up with you.
The remains of Donwani, his second in command, Ikechukwu Adiele, and another ally, Lucky Ole, have been handed over to the Nigerian police. In Port Harcourt, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
In recent times, the fear of the criminal element under the aegis of Bado is perhaps the beginning of wisdom in Ikorodu and Ekpe axis of Lagos State. Doindia examines how the popular cult group was demystified by the security operatives. We, however, warn that the visuals contain some flash content. Viewers' discretion is advised.
The first reported serial killing by the Bado cult group occurred in Ikorodu sometime in April 2017. Sooner than later, it gradually turned into an epic center of brutal killings suspected to be for ritual purposes. The group, which often carried out its Operation Midnight using rocks on their victims' head, became more fearful later in the year.
Somebody is trying to use a white handkerchief to clean blood. You should know that it is a kind of ritual.
The notorious activities of the Bado cult group in Ikorodu and Ekpe raised serious security concerns with the traditional rulers, local vigilantes, and the religious institution harmonizing with the State Commissioner of Police to fight the crime.
These shrines are locations where people kidnapped, people who are also tricked are brought. In the process, they are defrauded. If they are not lucky, they are killed. And in some instances, their parts are sold.
Prominent among operations of the Bado cult group is that of the family of three at Temu village, Ekpe area of the state, and another family of three in Abule Oshoru in Ipeshe area of Ikorodu, as well as that of the clergy who was murdered in Ofin town, also in Ikorodu area of the state.
The basic and the fundamental security measure is to just be your neighbor watch.
So far, the Lagos State Police Command, in collaboration with the Lagos State Security Watch, have made remarkable progress in clipping the wings of the Bado group, especially with the arrest of the top members of the group and their sponsors.
Their kingpin, the head of the group, has been arrested. He cleared and we arrested him on water as he was making his escape.
Lagos State is in support of the Commissioner of Police as well as other security agencies that are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring proper monitoring and securing of the environment.
With the recent arrest of the individual that was involved in administering oaths to those who get involved in that ritual, I'm sure it will bring it down. But that may not mean that Badu has come to an end.
11-year-old Precious Nwafo was rescued from detention after being locked up in an apartment for over a week by her aunt, who went on a trip to the southeast for the Utah break. Thanks to the Lagos Police Command and the Lagos State Government, who came to the rescue. Doidia again completes the story.
State Police Command received call from a kind-hearted citizen who reported the situation at number 12 Badering Street, Mafoluko, Oshodi. A combined team from the Child Protection Unit of the Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development and the Commissioner of Police besieged the location. 11-year-old Precious Onwafo was still in detention.
How long have you been here? Are you happy with your situation like this?
Yes. After interrogation with the girl, the State Commissioner of Police, Imoimi Edgar, ordered the immediate opening of the door. Precious Onwafo had been locked up by her auntie, who is far away in the east for the Yuletide break for over a week.
It's wicked, it's satanic for anybody to lock up a child in a room that is not well ventilated, not taking into cognizance that there could be a fire outbreak, she could have a medical condition, there could be a problem, a disturbance, and she will be trapped. We intend to pursue this case to the end like we have done the rest. We intend to get her auntie and whoever is connected with this, and we intend to ensure that they are prosecuted.
One of the neighbors who spoke behind camera told me that Precious is not the first to witness such ill treatment by the said boss. The development drew the attention of other residents of the area.
When you hand over your children to parents or guardians, you should always be mindful.
Very bad. For this bad attitude, it does not give good encouragement to parents and people in the society.
Be calling on the dialing number for them to respond in time is a very great privilege for us here.
Once you perceive or see any atom of assault happening, you present it to the police. The CP had said it time and time again that if you have issues bordering, call me, call my DPO. Call the people next to where you are.
While the victim had been handed over to the Welfare Department of the Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development, the Lagos State Police Command says the suspect, who has been declared wanted, will be charged to court.
The rights of the vulnerable, the women and children in society, we must guard it and guard it jealously.
Well, you're welcome. You're still watching Panorama, coming to you from Lagos Network Center. Our focus actually today is to x-ray the performance of the economy in 2017 and also to project for 2018. What is our expectation? And to discuss further on this, I have with me the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Muda Yusuf. You're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, the country went through some hard times in 2017, such as inflation, high interest rates, recession, and corruption cases here and there and all that. How did we get to this situation, actually? Let's look at it.
Well, from the economic point of view, I think the key factors were actually external factors. It was the collapse of oil price about 2 years ago that actually drove the economy into recession. And unfortunately, some of the few policy responses also further compounded the situation. In the business environment, for instance, we experienced very serious liquidity crisis in the foreign exchange market. We experienced a sharp drop in purchasing power. We had situations where salaries were not paid, especially in the public sector, to many civil servants, especially outside Lagos State. And many of those states, their economies are driven principally by the purchasing power of the civil servants. Okay. So the moment we had a crash in the civil service purchasing power, it affected all the economies of those states, in fact, affected businesses and so on and so forth. But the good news, just as you said in your introductory remarks, is that the economy is now bouncing back. Yeah. We are seeing a rebound in oil price. We are seeing stability in oil output. And we are seeing a remarkable improvement in the major macroeconomic variables. Our external reserves, as of today, here is already getting to 40 billion US dollars.
40.4.
40.4, which is good, because the beauty of a robust external reserve is that it gives confidence to investors, whether domestic or foreign.
But I was going to ask you that what does that portend for our economy?
Yes, it gives confidence. Okay. It shows that this economy has the capacity to meet its foreign obligations financially. So whoever wants to do, because we are in a global economy, whether we like it or not, we have to sell things to the outside world. People buy things from us and all of that. So the confidence that people have has a lot to do with how robust your foreign reserves is.
Okay.
And that also has impacted on the stability of the foreign exchange, the exchange rates.
Okay.
Because since the third quarter or fourth quarter of last year up until now, liquidity has improved in the foreign exchange market. So the challenges that we had at some point in 2017, 2016, of people not being able to access foreign exchange, factories closing because of lack of access to foreign exchange, or when we had a situation where exchange rate was going as high as 500 naira to the dollar, all that is now history. We have seen stability and things are gradually picking up. But the challenge that we have now is that the non-oil sector of the economy is still grappling with a lot of challenges.
Okay, like what are these challenges?
Now, the challenges are basically challenges of productivity, challenges of efficiency, challenges of competitiveness. Because whatever you do in the business space is about how competitive you are. It's about how sustainable the business is. If for any reason you are not able to be competitive or sustainable, there's no way the business can survive. And that is why if you look at the latest
productivity,
figures,
what are you talking about here?
Productivity is about how efficiently you can operate.
Okay.
If your input is disproportionately higher than your output, it speaks to the fact that you have a productivity issue.
Okay.
It could be as a result of inadequate technology. It could be as a result of the method. It could be as a result of the management competence. It's about capacity.
Okay.
Either from technology point of view or from management point of view. And also about the environment. So all those things affect productivity and affect the capacity of the economy and the private sector to recover.
These challenges, how can we tackle these challenges then to at least solve the problem?
Well, first of all, there are a number of angles through which you can deal with these challenges. First, we have the angle of policy, because policy plays a major role in the way businesses operate.
Okay.
It also dictates to a large extent how economic players will behave in a particular environment. For instance, if we take our interest rate or monetary policy, right now we have very serious challenge with interest rates.
Okay.
Cost of fund, tenor of fund is a major factor impeding business. So if we are able to tweak our monetary policy to support businesses by looking at the interest rate environment, that would be something good. Then we also have our tax policy. Right now, the focus of taxation is largely about revenue generation. But you can also use taxation to stimulate investment, especially domestic investment and even foreign investment. You can use it as an incentive. Okay. That is another policy tool that you can deploy. We have what you call the trade policy. Trade policy is about import duty, about import restriction, import ban. We have to be selective and strategic in the way we use this policy.
Okay.
Strategic in the way we impose tariffs, in the way we import restrictions and all of that, so that we don't compound the challenges of operators in the economy.
Okay.
Because if the trade policy environment is not conducive, it also affects the capacity of the private sector to move on and to create jobs.
So would you say the government policy right now, targeted at repositioning the economy on the path of growth, what is your view about that?
Yeah, it is. We are making some progress, especially with the economic recovery and growth plan, and especially with the engagement that the private sector is having with the office of the vice president under the presidential business enabling environment initiative. There's a lot of engagement going on, but it can be better, because the more we get feedback from the private sector, the better the quality of the policy. Because it's the private sector that knows exactly what works and what doesn't work. We also need to look at our institutions. We take the customs, for instance. You know, we take maybe the judiciary, even the civil service. Because from time to time, they have very critical roles to play in driving the economy. If they are not positioned well to support investment, the economy will not move forward. Even if you have very good fundamentals and the institutions of states are not supportive of investment, it could be very frustrating. We also take regulatory institutions.
Okay.
You know, NAFDAC, SON, CBN, all of them. They relate at different levels with business people. And sometimes many of them are also too excessively focused on generating revenue to the detriment of promoting investment. Okay. So that is very important. Okay. Then our foreign exchange policy also needs to be supportive of investment. Okay. Luckily, at least we have moved away from the rigid position that we had about a year ago to a more flexible position now. We have this I&E window, which is market driven. A lot of inflows of forex has coming through there. As at 2017, about $22 billion have coming through the window.
Let's look at the contribution of the private sector, especially, I mean, like your own Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Yeah. How do you, I mean, contribute to government policy? How do you, what advice do you collaborate with the government in coming up with policies like this?
Well, our mandate principally, just like with many of the business associations, is policy advocacy. Yeah. And one of the most effective ways to have a very good advocacy is engagement with the policymakers. Okay. And the good thing is that this administration is engaging very well with the private sector in order to look at what the gaps are, in order to get the right kind of feedback that will help to shape the nature of economic policies.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Mr. Muda Yusuf, for coming on Panorama.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're still on Panorama. We now move on to our next story. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain is one of the stanza of the national anthem. It is on this premise that Nigerians were urged to leverage to strengthen the nation's unity. This is the position of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, at the interdenominational church service organized as part of activities marking the 2018 Armed Forces Remembrance in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has the details.
President Yemi Osinbajo notes that the officers and men of the armed forces on daily basis contribute towards the return of peace to troubled spots in the country. He says the federal government would do everything possible to defend the peace and unity of the country.
Our nation today stands as one to honor those who have paid and continue to pay the price, night and day, for our safety and for the safety of our land. And we pledge that the labors of these heroes past and present shall not be in vain.
The theme of the 2018 Remembrance Day, organized by the Ministry of Defense, is appreciating the contributions of armed forces in assuring peace and security.
The armed forces remains the one institution of hope of Nigerians.
From the National Christian Center in Abuja, Jide Onifade, NT News.
And now to sports. Dende Sani is our guide on sports update.
Nigeria's